Alright, y'all. This here's the Ford man coming back to you again. Well, this is my 1980 Honda CM400T. I finally got the turn signals, headlight bucket, headlight and all that stuff installed. Replacement fork covers, all that good stuff. The turn signals, headlight bucket, and the fork covers, that was all missing. Mirrors, they were missing as well. Well, I got one on here right now because the master cylinder for the front brake is needs some rebuilding, so I didn't bother putting it back on. Had to get a new pilot indicator box, new ignition switch, well, new used, and a few little miscellaneous this and there, bolts and stuff to mount them. Let's see. I also got me some frame hardware bolts so I could bolt on my air cleaner case, which is this right here. As you may or may not be able to see, this is clean, that's filthy. Why? Because there's oil on that. That's because it leaks right there. Right where that bolt is. It's hot though as I touch it. Anyway, so I gotta replace the rear seals and those two outer corner head bolts. That's where the oil flows through, so that's why it's leaking right there. And then replace the head gasket, and since it's got all the other gaskets, might as well do the cylinder gasket and the valve cover gasket. But anyway, and that'll take care of that oil leak, and that'll be good. Let's see, I went through the carburetors a little while back, tore them all down, soaked them in some simple green, and put them back together, resynced them, and put them back on the bike. Let's go ahead and get the seat off here. Alright. Here's my nice replacement air cleaner case. Got that installed. Had to reinstall the inner fender and the tool tray. Let's see. Had to take the fender off, and especially the rear wheel off, in order to get air cleaner case and inner fender installed. So it was alright, wasn't too bad. Had to reroute the wiring harness all back onto its original locations. Previous owner that my friend bought it from wasn't exactly awesome, I'll just say that. No, actually that doesn't put it mildly. He was a moron, quite frankly, because he didn't know what he was doing on this bike. He was trying to turn it into a cafe racer, but he had a lot of the stuff off and everything, and he was gonna repaint the frame and all that good stuff. Quite frankly, I'm glad he didn't, because there was a lot of things messed up on this bike. So who knows what he would have done if he had repainted the frame. He might have painted the engine black too while he was at it. Oh, and this bracket right here, this little tab, this is what the side cover snaps into and the battery box bolts to. Well, this is all bent to hell. Yeah. Why? Who knows? Who knows what that guy did? Anyway, so I had to try to beat it. I took the grommet out and took a little mowing blade I had from one of my tractors and just put it back against there and just beat it with my hammer until it got flat and bent it about as much as I could get it to for what I could figure was original. So it's barely hanging on, so that's because when he bent it so bad it got cracked and all that, but oh well. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is another funny thing. As you see the brake actuator arm, how it's down here like this. Yeah, it was up here before, up here, and the brake rod would run along the top instead of on the bottom like it is. Yeah, he installed it backwards. It still worked because it's the way the drum was designed, but that's not the correct way it's supposed to be installed. So yeah. Chain. Yeah, that guy, he didn't even check his chain tensioners to make sure they were perfectly even as well. So it's no wonder that rear tire has some, well, it's no wonder it's really worn. Anyway, let's see, I'm trying to think what else I might have done to it. Oh yeah, I had a pretty funny electrical problem too. The right turn signal wouldn't flash as fast as the left, so I'm like, okay, this is really weird. It would flash like a couple times really slow, and then just go solid. So I'm like, what the heck? So I'm just, checking all the wiring and everything. I'm even checking resistances to see if there's a higher resistance or a lower resistance from the from the left and right turn wires. And they were only like 0.1 ohms difference, which really shouldn't actually cause any difference in the flash pattern anyway. So I'm like, okay, well that shouldn't be it. And I checked the switch and everything. I checked everything. And I finally, after hours of playing with some other stuff too, other than the turn signals, I switched the left bulb with the right one. Boom. It flashed beautifully. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. That's all it was. He put the wrong bulb in there. It's supposed to be 23 watts. The front and rear bulbs, turn signals, are supposed to be 23 watts. The front running lights, I don't remember how many watts they're supposed to be, but I think they're 8, something like that. I don't know. I don't remember. Anyway, so yeah, that fixed that problem. Yeah, I had issues with my headlight didn't want to work, and then it did, and then it didn't. And then also, one time I turned the key to on, boom, nothing came on. I was like, what? So it was as simple as a bad connection at the fuses. So as you can see, the nice and shiny copper, that's because I took a little Dremel-like tool with a little tiny wire wheel, just went to town on those contacts. Now they look as good as new now. So, but anyway, let's see. As you can see, I'm missing the rear tank insulator. But so, all right, now I'm going to fire it up. I've been riding it all over up here, so it will run beautifully. Anyway, as you can see, it runs good. Well, other than the oil leak. I have noticed that, though, when I get to, I'd say about 2,000 to 3,000 RPMs. Usually if I'm hanging around right here, I notice it lags when I try to floor it. But otherwise, as long as I'm not in that spot, it, or once I get past that, boom, it takes off like a rocket sled on rails, man, I tell you what. It's like, wow. It's not bad for a 400cc parallel twin, that's for sure. Well, anyway. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. I had to, since I was going to be, having to put the fork covers on, what I also did was I took drained the forks. Now these aren't the original forks on the bike. These are from an 81 custom model. You can tell because, number one, the 80 model didn't have air, whereas the 81 does. And the pressure is, optimum pressure is 11 psi, more or less, I think it's 3 psi. Yeah, optimum pressure is, more or less 3 psi, yeah. But optimum pressure is 11. Anyway, so that's one giveaway that it's an 80 from the 81. And number two, that is how I know it's from a custom, is because the drain plugs. So, yeah. So these are not the original forks in the bike, but hey, they're a nice upgrade, that's for sure. Anyway, so yeah, I had to, when I went to change the oil, the left one, the oil was like black. It must have been like 32 years old, the original oil. And the right one looked like the Milky Way. It was horrible. And no, it's not because the seal there leaks. It's because the previous moron, and I mean moron, let me find what that guy slapped in there. I might have chunked it. Okay, well, anyway, it was a... instead of replacing it with a new air valve, he takes a bolt with a broken head on it and screws it down in there instead. It's no wonder water made its way inside the fork. So, anyway, so that's good. 6.4 ounces of new 10W fork oil in each fork, so 12.8 ounces total. So, in case any of you are wondering and need to change your oil. So, and it's not too bad. Yeah, I had to, of course, the easiest way to do it is to take the wheel and the fender off, and that's the easiest way to do it. You don't have to do that. I mean, you can just take the end caps off. That way you can take the top springs out, and then just remove one of the drain plugs and just pick up the wheel with your hand and just pump it. And that's one way to do it. A little bit more of a pain because it's heavier, but you can do it. Let's see. Oh yeah, I had to replace the exhaust header studs too. Some brand new studs on there. Studs and nuts. Brand new OEM Honda. Well, yeah, new old stock OEM Honda. So, only but the best for my bike. Oh yeah, I also had to replace the gear shifter. The thing, this guy was so cheap, it's pathetic. This is the thing the previous moron had on it. You couldn't, it's so short, you can't even get your boot underneath it to shift the upshift the thing. It's pathetic. So I had to get this gear shifter whether I wanted to or not. Otherwise, I'd be flipping this up every time I wanted to upshift. Yeah, that would get old very quickly. Well, this is the comparison. Huge difference. That's for sure. So, yep. On the carburetors, I also had to replace, of course, the float bowl gaskets. That one's a little bit on the toasty side. Also had to replace the air cutoff valves. This one's got a slight little hole in it somewhere. This one's all sticky. So I had to replace those. Oh, and also the accelerator pump diaphragm. This one was a little stiff, so and it had a million little tiny cracks in it, so I just got a new one of those too. I found them off of CB750.com, something like that. Anyway, they were the cheapest site online. It was like $62, $65, something like that. A lot better than almost $100 if you went to go buy those off of eBay. So, and a lot cheaper than buying new old stock OEM Honda. Because for just one air cutoff valve, it's like $50. It's insane. So, yeah. But I got those for like $18.95 each. That was for both air cutoff valves, you know, $32, something like that for the two air cutoff valves, and another $18.95 for the accelerator pump diaphragm. So it was kind of nice. All three parts are all the same price. But anyway, so well, got a new battery too. Got that from Advance. Let's see. Did a lot of work to this bike. I mean, I have spent literally all-nighters on this bike, getting it to the condition it's in right now. Yeah. One thing that's a little annoying is my grip doesn't exactly stay on the handlebar that well, so, oh well. They're original grips from a 79 400T is what I got them from. Same bike that the mirrors came from, and the headlight bucket. But anyway, so all in all, I have parts-wise, including the battery, including the gasket set I got, I have $770, something like that. Yeah, a lot of money. I mean, there was a lot of missing parts in this bike. I'd say at least 20 missing parts, and then all the rest were just replacement. So, but there is one thing that my Speedo is doing weird. I noticed when I stopped riding, it was stuck at like 20 miles an hour or something like that. But I mean, it's back down to 0 now, but that was weird. So I don't know. I think the Speedo is a little off because I had to get a brand new cable. That's yet another part that was missing. So I managed to find a new old stock cable for pretty dirt cheap. And I know the Speedo drive works, so it's got to be the Speedo itself that has problems, which stinks because, well, it just does. Anyway, so yeah, I think that about does it in terms of all the stuff that I had to do to this thing. But I got another tank on the way. This one's got some light dents in it. There's one right there. There's one right there that's from this right here, whacking it. And there's another one right there. And oh yeah, that nice horrible black paint job. Yeah, that was also the previous owner. What a joke. You can tell someone took just a spray can of black paint and didn't even prep it right and just let it rip. No wonder it looks horrible. Anyway, so I got another tank on the way, and of course side covers, both left and right, are missing, so I got those coming on from the same guy. Got all three of those parts, and they still have, the tank still has the Honda emblems on it, and both the tank and the side covers have their graphics still on too. And you can still see the original paint, although it's not in good condition, paint-wise, but otherwise the parts themselves are in perfect condition. I got all of that with shipping for $90. That's not bad, considering what I've seen just one side cover go for. I mean, I've seen them go for, just for example, I saw a left side cover on eBay that didn't have the original graphics on it and was home painted a different color. I saw it go for like $65. That's just one cover. So, yeah. I've even seen a nice one that had, very, very decent candy holly green paint and graphics on it. It went for like over $100. Anyway, so I think I pretty much got that at a steal deal for those three parts. But anyway, so, oh, another thing that's missing, in case you hadn't already noticed, the rear grab bar. Yep. Oh well. So I just slapped some bolts that I got from that set of frame bolts that I ordered off of eBay. I just slapped a couple of those suckers in there just to support the fender. So it's alright. Anyway, so it's getting there. I'll get the gasket set in this week, and I'll get the tank and side covers in, and I'll get it all done and slap my horrible seat back on there. I found a guy on eBay that has a seat cover for it, and it looks really good. I mean, it looks like an OEM seat. So, for like $70, but we'll see. Anyway, when I get done, this bike will be running perfect and looking beautiful. So, but anyway, that's about all. So, alright, here's the Ford Man signing off.